everyone in here. We're super excited for today, and we're super excited who we have here with us today, and we'll get to that momentarily. And let's make sure we are good. The ones that are live, can you let me know y'all can see us? Brooke, if you'd like to say something so we can hear you.
Hey everyone, I'm Brooke. I'm so excited to be speaking with you all today. Good sound.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started here. So what I would like to do is, she's already kind of informally introduced herself. We have with us today Miss Myrtle Beach, Brooke View, and it's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Brooke, Miss Myrtle Beach. I'm 25 years old. I'm a native of South Carolina, of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I'm a graduate of Coastal Carolina University, where I majored in marine science and biology. So I spent most of my time studying sea turtles and fish ecology and a little bit of marine chemistry. So I was always looking under a microscope, analyzing the water and the animals that were living in there, and also filtering out microplastics, which I think was probably the coolest part of my study. And then during my time at Coastal, I was a sea turtle patrol monitor. So I was someone that walked the beach looking for the turtles. Awesome. And I think during that whole time, I saw way more trash than turtles. I also saw shark teeth out there too, but I was looking out for those turtles, but I really saw a lot of trash. And I think that really bothered me as someone that was dedicating so much of my time to protecting these animals, and then knowing that there was so much out there that was going to potentially harm them. So that's kind of why I think I started getting into pageants, and then I created my own organization, the Future is Green. So I wanted to get more people involved so I could talk about the issues that I were passionate about. And then kind of all of those things kind of combined together and created the person I am today. Yeah.
Wow. Well, let's go ahead and start from there. What intrigued your interest? I mean, I know obviously living to the beach, a Myrtle Beach native. So did that really strike your interest from a young girl, or did it just grow into this passion with marine biologists and with turtles?
I think kind of like you said, everything. Growing up here, we always made trips down to the beach as a family. We always ended up, after our day to kind of cool off, we were walking along the shore, and we'd always get to like the shell hash area. And then we kind of made it a game, who could find the most shark teeth or the first one. And right. So I think it really just was from a really young age, and building on to kind of my need to find out things. I'm very curious, and so learning, reading books, and then I think it kind of grew into more of a scientific and professional lens after I got to Coastal. And then I thought, wow, there's I've read all these books, I've watched all these documentaries, I've lived here, but now you have a professor that's really like pouring into you everything that they know, and to me that was so exciting, and I'm so grateful for that.
So I know you like to walk the beach a lot. You'll do a lot of cleanup things. I've seen a lot on Facebook about it. Tell us a little bit about that, because this goes hand in hand, I believe.
Yeah, so when I first started competing for pageants, they have you form a platform or a social impact initiative, something you're passionate about, something you want to advocate for, something you could talk about all the time and want to know more. And so for me, I think that was really about how proud I was to live here in Myrtle Beach, and I wanted to protect it. And I knew so many people that lived here. This is why they come. They come for the ocean and for the beach. And so if I'm out there all the time enjoying it, I want to make sure that it's something that's sustainable and lasts a long time. So I really didn't know that word sustainability until I probably got to college. But I want to change that. I want other young people to start thinking about how do things last a long time, and if we're taking something away, what's the impact of that? And so that's kind of where the Future is Green kind of started, with walking along the beach and seeing all the trash, and then kind of learning, well, what happens to this item after we're done with it? Where does it go? And so I think kind of that, curious, what happens, and all asking myself all those questions. And then I want to instill that curiosity into other people. And I call that citizen scientist, because I want to know that anyone, no matter how old you are or what your level of ability is or whatever your background is, you can get excited about learning. And then you can also at the same time be making a really great impact on the environment. And so I think that's kind of why I'm so passionate about it. It's something that I can see myself doing even after the crown. And I'm just really proud of all the accomplishments that we've gotten to do. The current beach cleanups have been really highlighted on the media. I'm super thankful for all of our partners that have put the word out, because for the last 8 years I've been competing, it's been hard. Just me saying, hey, I want to do this thing and I want other people to get involved. You know, you can attest to that too. When you start something new and then you have to bring people in, that's so difficult. So to know that I have a support system in a community that's so supportive of the organization is so amazing, and something that not every girl has. So I'm super grateful for. And I'm just excited for Miss South Carolina's coming up. So I get to talk about all of this stuff on stage, and I'm really excited.
Wow. Now I'll go to the turtles and I'll go back to what you just mentioned. So with the turtles, I've had a lot of input recently, a lot of questions with the turtles, and a lot of controversy came up because it had dealt with lights, no lights. We know people go out there for teeth at nighttime. What is the significance? Because there has been a lot of arguments on the page, what to do, what not to do. I want lights. No, I don't want lights. Red lights, no red lights. So what is, I guess this is nesting season, turtle season. So kind of kick us off and kind of give us a little bit of info on that.
Yeah, so May to October, May 1st starts nesting season. So that's when these female mother turtles are ready to lay. And so they come on land for the only time that they ever do is to nest. And so that's so important. So that means that the future of that species is really dependent on that interaction with that beach. So if you have a dog and you reside very close to the water, you could potentially scare that mother off because there's a large predator there, and she wouldn't want to injure herself, put her in danger, or the eggs that she'll be laying. With lights, I love the Lights Out SC program, because I think it's so important that we keep light pollution down, because that's also a deterrent for these mother turtles. They are so picky, and the beach has to meet all of these criteria for her to lay. We have so many false crawls. That's when a mother turtle is so ready to lay that she'll come up on shore, but then she gets turned off by something. So whether that's the temperature of the sand, or that's too much light, or that's too much sound, or maybe someone walked by because they're walking on the beach because they're enjoying it and they scare her off, and you might not even see her, but she is so aware of her surroundings and can just turn her off and she'll walk away. And so the problem with light is that baby sea turtles, they go to the water at night. And so their only source of direction at that point in time, so think about like the first hour of life, and then having to go dig yourself out of a hole that's like almost like 4 feet down. Okay. And then the first thing you're looking for is the moon. And so that's where the problem with light pollution comes from, is those little baby turtles are looking for the moon because the moon is over the water. So they've just been programmed by their ecology, their evolution, to follow that moonlight, and that will take them to the water. So if we have a beach house that has a light, a porch light shining down on their porch, that little baby sea turtle is going to go into the brush or the plant material and then get stuck and entangled. And so that's why so many people take videos of the baby turtles like in the plants, and they're like, oh no, this baby turtle's lost. It's probably because all night long they were circling this little light saying like, where's the water? And they get super lost. And so that's the problem with light pollution. So if you can turn your lights off between May and October, that's awesome. You can, if you have to have a light for some reason, for some ability to see and you're coming home late, red light is going to be your next step, but it would be awesome to turn all your lights off so that you don't have any distraction for those turtles.
Now, I can already hear a lot of questions now, like, well, okay, what would one do if we see a couple stragglers? Do you touch them? What do you do if you know they're the opposite direction?
Right? So for someone that has never touched a turtle before, I would say don't touch it. If you see one that is entangled and you know that there's no way that this turtle is going to be able to get out, if you can safely untangle it, so you know it's not going to like pull an arm off, it's just kind of in there in the brush, and you could pick it up. That's the only time I would suggest picking it up. They are great at flipping themselves over. Now, if you see that there's tons of holes, fill those in, because the little turtle is going to fall in there and it's never going to make its way out. And
Wow.
so if you see holes and you know that there's a turtle nest nearby, fill it in for us. That's super helpful. If you can stand kind of, if you want to watch it from kind of a little bit like 3 feet away, and watch it walk down to the water, totally fine. Take your pictures, go ahead. My one thing is, once it gets to the water, if you're in the water also, do not move your feet, because so many people will accidentally step on it, because once they hit the water, they're working so hard to fight that current that you just want to watch from a safe distance and stay planted so that turtle can figure out its own path and its own current and make its way out there. But totally fine to observe, scare the birds off if you want to. But my advice is to always watch from a distance if you can help it.
Wow. Okay, so let's actually talk a little bit more about okay, you're Miss Myrtle Beach. You said you've done it for 6, 8 years now?
I started in 2014. So I was just in high school when I started, but I probably started doing pageants when I was about 8 months old, if you can believe it. I got
Wow.
carried out on stage. I had big poopy dresses on. And then after a while, I just thought, this isn't really for me. And there's so many other things I could be doing: swimming, gymnastics, dance. And so I just got involved with more sports and academics. And then I kind of lost my way with it. And then when I got to high school, I had all these teachers come up to me saying, "Hey, we have this scholarship pageant. Brooke, you are really well spoken. I know you're a dancer. You do well in my class. You should do it, and you can get scholarship money." And so I thought, well, that's fun. Let's try that. I have like some experience, so I wouldn't be doing something I'd never ever done before. But
Right.
then I did all the paperwork, I practiced, I went to the rehearsals, I got a dress, I did all the things. And then guess what? I didn't win.
Oh,
and
wow.
so I thought, okay, well that's all right. There's more year. I'm here for 4 years, right? So we'll just, we'll focus on exams now. And then
Wow.
we'll come back in the fall and we'll do this again. And I didn't place. I didn't win. That's twice now. And so I
Wow.
thought, okay, well, maybe this isn't for me, but most girls that win, they have found out who they are. They've gotten a job probably at this point. They kind of know what they want to do with the rest of their life by the time they reach their junior year. Because I think that's how schools are kind of set up. Junior, senior year, you kind of know what you want to do. And so the person, the student that was going in to interview my junior year was way different than the little freshman coming in that like didn't know. I always knew I wanted to go to marine science, but wasn't all well rounded and polished yet. So I went in junior year. I said, this is coming to the end of me being able to represent my high school at Miss South Carolina. And, these are things I'm passionate about. And here I am as a student. And this is advice I would give to myself coming in as a freshman, doing it again, navigating their way through high school. And then I won. And then that gave me the
Wow.
eligibility to go to Miss South Carolina teen and compete that summer, and didn't win Miss South Carolina teen, but that was okay. I had, formed this goal that I want to represent my state and I want to serve my state. And so then I kept going back every year since 2014. And
Wow.
no, there is no Miss South Carolina crown on my head. You don't see that there. And I think that really helps you form kind of like your own strength when you don't win something. And I come from kind of a sports. My brothers, they competed in sports in high school, and so you don't always win. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're a bad athlete or you're a bad softball player or you're a bad baseball player or football player. It just means you didn't win. There was just another team that did. And so you just learn that you walk away with so many more valuable things in this organization. I have collected thousands of dollars in scholarships, so I was able to graduate completely debt free, and
Wow.
that's something that a lot of my friends can't say, and they're super jealous about. And I'm like, you could have gone with me to Miss South Carolina.
That's amazing.
And so much confidence and speaking skills that I've walked away from, opportunities, open doors. And I can't be more grateful for that. And so this is my last year to compete at Miss South Carolina. I am aging out next year, so I'll be ineligible to compete at Miss America. But I am, so excited to represent my hometown and kind of end it out on such a great note. And we'll see what happens when I leave next week for Miss South Carolina.
See, that's amazing, because a lot of the integrity, a lot of the work ethic for a lot of people, sometimes they just bummed out about it.
Burned out. Yeah, it's a
And
lot
it's
of
like,
work. It
you
is so
know,
much work. I work every day to this. It's my priority. There is no job I want more than the title of Miss South Carolina and representing my state. And so I have given up job opportunities for this. I have said no to social things because this is what I want. And I can't say that there's another candidate out there that wants it as much as I do. I've been here since the beginning through all the changes, and my loyalty has stayed, and this is something that I keep number one priority all the time. So no matter what's going on outside, this has always been my focus.
Wow, that's amazing. Even through like a pandemic, right? Through an epidemic, and I know that's changed the culture so much, but to hear the drive for 8 years, and whether you win or not, that's an amazing goal to have, because people look at that and like, oh man, if she has this work ethic and is still trying and have one more year, you never know what doors can open up, the possibilities that, because people see that drive, people see that work ethic, and that's unheard of, and to be so young, right? And that's amazing to have. Congrats, kudos, because that's a lot that a lot of people don't have anymore, right? They get their schooling, okay, great, but to still compete, right? And to know that, what if the last year you leave with the biggest bang, right? So now let me ask you this: is this something that, is there a voting? Is there something that we can help vote or something?
Yes, so there is a people's choice, and that's pretty important because the more votes that a contestant has, that increases her chances into making it into the semifinals. So really the people's choice could determine who the next Miss South Carolina is. So there is a voting opportunity, and so maybe we can link that in one of the comments in the live. But if you go to the miss-sc.org website, there is a tab where you can vote for your favorite contestant, and that will determine who is in our semifinals. So when they narrow down to from about 50 to about 10, those votes matter. And so, I'm pretty confident with my score, but I would love for your support as well.
Absolutely. And when the time comes, now, is there going to be a deadline or a specific time to vote?
So Miss South Carolina, the competition is going to be June 25th. That's a Saturday evening. And so I'm sure they'll cut off votes before the competition starts on Saturday. So the earliest you can vote, please do. Please share. Please share this video with your friends and say, Brooke needs your help. She's representing Myrtle Beach and she is ready to be Miss South Carolina and she needs your vote. So please share, and when you can, but I'm sure they'll cut off right before the competition on Saturday.
And we will do whatever we can over this way to push it, to advertise it, to say, go out and vote. As you all, if you can already say, sweet young lady, full of life, look, she's representing South Carolina, right? We talk about shark teeth. We talk about, and we'll get to that next, because I'm sure people are like, where's the teeth, right? So let's transition to that. We will, as much as we can, we will plug that, Brooke, and we will definitely help as much as we can with votes. So let's move on to, you talked about being a child. Now, did you always live in Myrtle, or was it something like you would see the beach on the weekends, or?
I always lived in Myrtle Beach. My house was actually one street over from the beach. So I was there anytime that I could. So when I wasn't studying for school for the next test, or I wasn't practicing my walk for Miss South Carolina or my talent, I was out there. And so I was always looking, and for not only shark teeth, but also for trash. So I always take a bag with me. That's my advice for everybody in challenge, is take a little bag with them. And if they see something that's not supposed to be there, take that home. So find your teeth, take those home too. But also, if you see any plastic out there, it helps. Every person's contribution is helpful.
Now, and see, a lot of people are going to be jealous. Like, to live one block or one street back, right, off of Ocean Boulevard, that's crazy, right? So, do you have any teeth with you?
I do. So I always keep a lot of my teeth in this cute little box, but I've taken some of my favorite out and I've attached them to double-sided tape, so I hope they don't fall off. These are some of my favorites. So I don't know.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm a marine scientist, so I love finding all things. So like I have like kept like sea urchin carcasses. I have sand dollars, whole sand dollars. They're so hard to find here, you guys. And I work so hard to keep them. And then I think one of my favorites is not a shark tooth, but it's a leopard crab carapace, and they
Oh,
are so fragile. It's like paper, like eggshell thin. And the fact I've kept it from breaking is phenomenal. I love finding like moon, snail shells,
oh
all
yeah.
things. I am a fossil and seashell enthusiast. I love it. I love
What is,
finding what they are, um, what animal it came from, and knowing like, is that native, or did it float from far, far away? They're usually native things, but
I think a lot of us throw so much back because we don't know what it is, to find out it's vertebrae, to find out it's some type of monosaur tooth, to find out it's some type of vertebrae or a mammoth bone or something like that. What is some of the rare things that, even if you don't have on hand, what are some of the rare things that folk could find on the coast?
I think, well, okay, so I used to do a segment called Weird Trash Wednesday. And the weirdest thing I found out there was a pair of false teeth. I was super scared that a skull would be attached and I'd have to call some backup for what to do.
Oh,
But thankfully it was just false teeth. But yeah, I see all kind of things washed up, especially like on Wadeys, there's no houses there. So everything is washed up. There's nobody really out there leaving trash like you see elsewhere. And so all kind of things. I've seen like whelk shell egg casings. That's cool to find. They kind of are like these spiral. It looks like kind of spirally sand, but
oh,
it's like kind of a jelly substance, and the sand like sticks to it, so the eggs are in there. Um, I've seen horseshoe crabs. Horseshoe crabs wash up all the time, and so that's kind of cool to find and try and help them back. One time I found a moon jelly, and then there was a spiny crab living inside that jelly, and so those little crabs are so small and they don't swim really fast, so they'll kind of hitch a ride on these jellyfish. And you can kind of, so if you pick up like a cannonball or something, you can kind of look in there to see if there's kind of like a little hitchhiker in there, and that's kind of cool to find. So I love to pick things up, but I always use a warning label on that, because if you don't know what you're picking up, you are potentially putting yourself in a dangerous situation. So if you are an expert, go for it. Please explore. I love fostering that sense of exploration and curiosity. But if you are new to shelling, or you are new to visiting the beach for the first time, maybe ask somebody before you pick it up, because you don't want to ruin your vacation by getting stung or getting bit by something.
and a lot of folks think that, like, for example, jellyfish, oh, they're dead, they're fine until they touch it, step on it, whatever, you
Yeah,
know.
no. So jellyfish are really cool. They're kind of like ancient animals. So those stinging cells are actually like another animal. They're nematocysts. So even if the animal has like dried out, and it's not gonna make it, it's like on its last leg, those nematocysts last a long time. Even once it's brushed on your skin and those cells have transferred, they still send off the signal to sting you. And so I always keep a bottle of vinegar in my car. That's something that can kind of deactivate the sting. So I think it's not about being afraid of the water, or, oh, there's scary things out there, I don't want to go in there. I think it's just being cautious and looking around. Even if you're swimming, like rip currents and things, just being cautious, and then never go swimming alone. If you have a child, make sure you're always watching. That is like my number one thing. A tip that I have is, for if you have two parents or multiple adults, and you have either multiple children, or you don't know who's watching, so if you're going to take turns, have a lanyard. And so whoever has that necklace on, that's the one that's going to be responsible for the child at that time. So, like maybe one parent's going to go get a drink or food or get something from the car, that other parent has to have the lanyard on, watching that child, just so you know that there's someone there responsible that's an adult. So if they get stung, if they find something and say, what is that? If they get lost, God forbid, something happens. So that's always my advice for when you're on vacation, you're having fun, but that level of safety never goes away.
Absolutely, because this is pretty much peak season. Everyone's going, everyone's out of school. There's so much dumping into Myrtle as new residents. That's why I kind of mentioned, like, with turtles, because you all have so many, or depending on whether you're at Cherry Grove Point or down by Spring Maid or on further south, right? You have so much new people coming in, or people that's never found teeth, that they hear this trending thing, shark teeth, they find their one, right? So that's why we say, now I wanted to ask this way back, early in the conversation, you mentioned turtles. I don't really see as much from like Spring Maid or up to like Second Avenue? Is it specific spots where people could kind of avoid the turtles, or?
So we get new mothers nesting all the time, and a lot of turtles will return to the same beach again. So if there's a beach that they really like, they'll come back to it. So if you see the signs, we don't really have a posting area where we say like this beach is off, like we'll never do that. But if you see a sign, stay clear of it. You don't want to take your dog over there to like start digging over there. You don't want to walk too close, because it's a pit of sand. So I mean, you could potentially fall through. Could. So if you see the signs that say turtle nesting area, just avoid that area. Sit somewhere else. And that's really kind of all to watch for. We don't want to make anyone not like avoid a certain beach or a certain area just because it's popular for turtles. I think it's just being about respectful and being aware of where you are, and knowing like I'm not going to leave my trash here because I know there's a turtle sign here. So if you see something, pick it up. I think it's just being courteous and being like,
Because I say that because I don't, we all have been going to the beach for years, and like is it probably because we don't see the turtles more so in the popular Myrtle Beach Grand Strand area, because they obviously know it's a lot of traffic, it's a lot of people, a lot of noise, a lot of whatever. So obviously they're going to be in the more quieter areas. Now with like the teeth hunting, because we know how popular it is, right? The interviews I've done, a lot of people have like the rule of thumb of like, stay away 10 feet from me. This is my area. This is the 6 feet area. You got the pan searchers, right? You have the people that dig, you have the people that sift. What is something that you like to do? Do you just kind of pick it up as you go? Oh, here's a tooth.
Yeah, I just kind of pick a spot, like kind of that shell hash area, and kind of pick like a little circle. And, while I'm there just enjoying the sun and the water, just kind of pick that little area as mine, but I'm not going to, stay away from me. If I see a little kid, I might give it to them and try and educate them on if I know what it is, and say, hey, have you ever seen this before? Make a friend. I have no problem doing that. But yeah, I think everyone can share. I know there's some serious enthusiasts and they want to get out there first, and that's totally fine. I've also seen parents kind of cheat a little bit and like take little shells with them and like have their little child find it. And I kind of encourage that because I think it creates a sense of like wonder and excitement on shelling at an early age. And you can put a little fence where their child is safe, so they're not going too close to the water. You can kind of create a little world for them right there, kind of near your blanket, and they'll be just as excited. And then they can keep it and put it in their room and tell their friends and their teacher and bring it to show and tell. And so I think that's totally fine, even if it wasn't truly out of the ocean. Right there. I think that's fine too.
I remember a couple years ago, I had I always stop all the time, or people might see our merch, or they might see, oh, are you the guy from whatever, right? So it's like, it's crazy because we all, either we've been given a tooth, we found one, right? Or what is this? Or we go down to Trader Joe's down at the Gay Dolphin or whatever, and it's like, so you really begin to, once you find the identification books, right? You go online, you get the postcards. And I never forget a young man, it's funny you say the story, a young man and his parents was on the beach. So, doing it so long, who's looking, who's not, right? So I said, what y'all looking for, whatever, right? So normally we all walk away with so many a day. So either I have like an Altoids can, which is a real cool can, or a Peel bottles or whatever. So I said, hey, young man, what are you looking for? Well, his father had found a tooth, but everybody else had found a tooth but him. So I said, hey, walk with me, whatever. I kind of show you some tricks. So throughout the years, you kind of find the niche tricks and stuff like that. So it wasn't a whole lot still washing up. So I knew I had to kind of get back. So I looked at his father and I winked. And so I said, hey, man, because he's about 10 feet in front of me. And I said, hey, man, I think you looked over one. It was probably a good bull or something like that, about an inch and a half bull. And that you have so much stuff you don't mind to give away. The look on his face when I turned around and said, hey, and I put it up real high in the surf so it wouldn't wash back, just enough to cover it. And I said, hey, man, I think you looked over one. And I said, check back about 10 feet. And I kept walking, and the look on his face was priceless, right? And it was like that look I knew for the rest of my life he would never forget. He's like, Mom, Dad, I found my first teeth. And as I went by the mom, she kind of started tearing up because she knew what I did. And I was just like, and walked by. And that's like, you never forget those things, right? And because it happened to me when I was a kid, right? So, but speaking with that, I love to see dolphins as they come through, like 100 yards out or whatever. Is there certain seasons that, we know we're in the sharks' backyard, we're in their domain, right? We see them all the time. What is some of the caution while we're looking for teeth, or what is some of the caution? Is there certain areas or certain times that we should get out the water? Like, I know dusk, evening, but what should we be cautious of while we're out here shelling or looking for teeth, especially when we're in their domain, right? In the water, actually.
I think kind of like what I said before, kind of being observant. If you are out there alone, please, stay clear of the water. Just because you never know. And I think being prepared is really important. I think when shelling, if you're kind of in where like the tide breaks, I think you're gonna be okay swimming. Not every beach is gonna have a lifeguard, so I think it's really just being cautious. If you do have your family out there, please watch your kids out there so that they don't go too far. I think again, if you don't know what it is, maybe wait to touch it. Ask. Facebook groups have been awesome. If you're like, hey, what is this? Like the very first comment will tell you what it is, if it's safe to pick it up. So, post and say you're in Myrtle Beach and say you found this cool thing. What is it? I'm sure there's an expert that is just waiting at that keyboard warrior to tell you what it is. But yeah, there's such a shortage of lifeguards, and even if you're at the pool in your resort, I think it's just being cautious of what dangers are there. And that Myrtle Beach is so fun. It's a vacation spot, and so you are having fun out there. But I think no matter where you go, especially in today's climate, anywhere you go, there's going to be a sense of danger there. So I think it's just have fun, but also you never know what could happen. So I think it's just being cautious, keeping close by to your kids so that you're right there in case they do come upon a jellyfish. Or I think if you are going to someplace new, I love reading a little bit about the wildlife there and saying, well, what is out there, so that when they see a cannonball jellyfish, they, even if they've never seen one before, they saw it in their guidebook and they're like, oh, that's totally safe for my kid to like throw it at their other kid, because I've seen it. And then they know that there's not like some old lady coming down like, don't touch jellyfish, they will sting you. It's like, this is a cannonball. And then so it offers a conversation, and then you can make a friend that way. But I think it's all fun. Just being cautious. I think if you're a parent, you already have that mothering instinct. You're gonna make sure your kid's okay. So I think it's just kind of that reminder, that warning that's always there.
Since we're talking about on the beach, is there something coming up soon that people can be a part of, like the Purest Green, or picking up, or is there something you're going to be doing again? Anytime?
Yeah, so a big part of the Purest Green is the cleanups, because that really involves the community. So what I do is I do kind of green talks, kind of like we're doing now, these little interviews, whether that's in a classroom or in a club meeting. But also we do cleanups. And so those are inland, those are on the beach, those are everywhere. And so one place you can sign up to become a volunteer is you can go to the Keep Myrtle Beach Beautiful website, and you can sign up to be a volunteer, and you'll get all the notifications about all the upcoming cleanups. We're working on right now that all of our volunteers will get like a little swag bag, so they'll get a t-shirt and they'll get little bags, and so you can come out. If you follow me, I might put a post out like, hey, I'm gonna go walk the beach, does anyone want to go with me? So whether you're looking for shells or you are looking for trash, I'd love to meet you. And so you can follow me on Facebook, Miss Myrtle Beach, Instagram, Miss Myrtle Beach. You can also look up Brooke Vu, also BROOKEVU, and you can find me on any of the socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And yeah, if you have a question, I'd love to answer it. And if you want to come out, I'd love to meet you. And then if you want to tune in and watch Miss South Carolina, it should be televised again this year. And you can also go to the Miss-SC website and they will live stream it there also, so you can tune in. But yeah, this has been so fun, and this is awesome. I've had the best morning. This is awesome.
Is there a couple more things? Is there any merch that they can purchase? Can they purchase it from those sites as well, or?
Yeah, so I think you go to my website right now, and there's still like a t-shirt link live. But the Miss-SC website has a great shop that has t-shirts and hats and all this stuff for Miss South Carolina, and all the money from that shop goes to women's scholarship. And then also on my Instagram and on my Facebook, there's a website where you can just donate to the scholarship outright. So if you're like, I don't need another t-shirt or a hat, I just want to support Brooke and women's scholarships, and it all stays in South Carolina. So all of your dollars donated is going to go straight to a university that's going to improve the education of a young woman in your state. And I think that's awesome. And so Miss America is the leading provider of scholarships for women in the world, and I think that's why I've always been a part of it. So if you want to go to the shop and get a t-shirt, awesome, it's going to go there. If you want to go to my website and just donate outright, it's going to go to women's scholarships. But yeah, I'd love to. If you also, I have autograph cards that I will just send you for free. So if you want to have an autograph card, I will make it out to you. So just message me on any of my socials, and I'd love to get you that card. So I will give you something for free. Oh my goodness.
I prefer to take that. I'm never going to deny an autograph for sure. Yeah. But nevertheless, but no, you all, this is cool. Follow her on every social media outlet. Follow her. Let's get the votes in. Hopefully we can do this again soon. And this is like a breaking of the ice. And you all definitely follow her. Meet up. She's always doing stuff. This is, to me, it's an honor, because it's about building, it's about growing, it's about supporting. And I think it's awesome. We don't really see a lot of recycling. We see the beach, we see the beer cans, we see the plastic, we see you name it, and we don't know what is affecting, what's eating it, what's killing, what's getting entangled in it, So you all, if you can, bring it back, right? There's plenty of trash cans, the big blue ones on the beach. Let's kind of stop walking by and put something in it, right? So this has been awesome. This has been amazing. You all can follow her, and I'll get all the links from her, and I'll put it on this video, and I'll do a post about it. So again, thank you so much, Brooke. This has been awesome. Miss Myrtle Beach. Let's get her in here. Let's get her in actually from Miss South Carolina, right? On her way out, right? So she has one more year. Let's get her that, right? So thank you so much, Brooke. Anything else you want to leave us with? I'll let you win this out.
Big thank you to the Myrtle Beach Shark Group, because this has just been such a great way to start my morning. Talk about something I love, talk about why I compete for Miss South Carolina and all the opportunities it's provided me, and that I want to give back to others. And just a huge thank you to everyone that sat through this video and wanted to listen to me talk for 30 minutes, because I think that's so cool that someone wanted to do that. And if you learned something, then I feel like I've met my purpose, that I've gotten to share a little bit of knowledge with someone else. And so just thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank everybody. The ones watching the replay, share it again. Thank you so much, Brooke. Have a great day, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. All right, bye.
Bye, everyone.